This is the day the Lord has made.
Let us rejoice and be glad in it.
Won't you pray with me? Creator God, sustainer of our lives, we thank you for the way that you show up. We thank you for the Spirit that calms us, guides us, and covers us as we walk through the journey of this life. And God, in those moments that we doubt or we fear, we know that you will walk with us. In those moments where we question who we are, that you will remind us that we are yours. And God, in all of the happy moments of this life where we celebrate and rejoice together, we're reminded that you always walk with us, that you always hold us, that you always cover us, for the way that you always show up, God. We are ever thankful. And on this day that you ordained to be so, we've gathered with friends and family to rejoice, to celebrate the wonders of your awesome might, to celebrate your love, and the grace that flows so plentiful between us. For the way that you love us, God, we give you thanks in this moment and all of the moments to come. And the people of God proclaim together, amen. If you need to be reminded of the grace of God, well, Cheryl just reminded us. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Welcome to this place on this day that God ordained to be so, that we might gather. So excited to see each and every one of your faces. And we're going to kick it off with some announcements.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
I think listening to Cheryl and Pastor Tatum is a joyous way to start our weeks. I'd like to draw your attention to a couple new lights that are in the vestibule out here. These two match. The other ones didn't. And I want to thank David Reeder for getting those installed. Will you please tell him thank you for that? Also, draw your attention to a new art print hanging on the west wall there. I believe the name of it is 7 Days of Creation, and it's a gift to the church from Jim and Mary Henley. So thank you, Jim and Mary. Also, surprise lilies are in the back of the church, courtesy of Nancy Holland. If anyone wants any, Nancy said, you're welcome to them. We've got some more donations in for the parking lot. We're down to $10,000 now that we owe on that project. And hopefully we will get that wrapped up before too much longer. I want to remind you that September 16th is the day that we're planning on getting the sod laid down around the shelter and right in front of the church. So we need many able bodies that can help us as we can. Also, remind you that council elections will be in October, and as Pastor Tatum has often said, are you available? So With that, Barb, I think, has a couple.
Yes. First of all, next Sunday is Rally Day. And in your bulletin, it has that Sunday school will start at 9 o'clock. And then after church, we'll have activities. CEC will provide the meat. Please bring a side dish or dessert to share. There'll be a basket raffle and silent auction of baked goods. And I will have a sign-up sheet I'll be passing around. It is on the second page of the clipboard. The first page is, we need Sunday school teachers by next weekend. And it's for September 10th and the 17th. So please sign up. We have one teacher, and we would like to divide it up into 3 age groups. So please feel called to be available to help with that. So we'll start the clipboard around. Second page is the sign-up sheet. Also next weekend, I would like to invite any of you who would like to help with apple butter. It's our annual tradition at the American Legion, Moneymaker for Auxiliaries. Saturday we will be peeling apples, starting about 10, and we have Friday, thank you, Friday at 10, and we have 50 bushels that we will need to peel and cut and core. So please come with a knife of your choice, and a pen if you would like, and you could come around, sit around and visit all day up until hopefully 7, 8 o'clock at night we will be done. And then Saturday we will be out cooking. We'll have 7 kettles going, and we'll start about 6 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, but you don't have to be there at 6. You can come anytime during the day. You can help stir the old-fashioned way of making apple butter. So, anything else, Brenda, on that? Meals are provided.
Fun.
Yes, it's
You
fun.
don't get to know your healing partners.
Yes, because we sit in a circle like the old-fashioned way of having these, and we provide a noon meal and breakfast. Okay. Thank you.
50 bushels.
That's a lot of apples. Rally Day next week, just like she said, we're not going to be in this space, weather permitting. We're going to be outside. So feel free to bring a lawn chair if you'd like to bring a lawn chair. And we're just going to enjoy some of God's creation and transition from the service into the meal. With the meal, the CC is going to provide the meat, but bring sides, chips, cool things. Try not to focus on hot things, but cool things that can maybe sit outside so that we can go straight into that meal. We don't have to do a lot of prep, and everybody can be present for the service there. In addition, adult Sunday school will also start next week. So if you feel called, please dust off that Bible that hasn't been getting any attention. Bring it with you and come, and we'll have a short class at 9 o'clock before the service, and we'll continue that through the fall. And then we have our homecoming Sunday service on the 17th. That'll be in this space. You won't want to miss it. Reverend Clarnell is coming back, and she's going to preach that service, and hopefully we have some other former leaders that come back, and we just kind of get to celebrate. We're going to have a meal after that service as well. So think about that as you're carrying to bring all of those hot and nice goodies that you want to bring. Does anybody else have any announcements to make? All right, let's continue with worship.
Good morning. Those who are able to please stand and join me in the responsive call to worship, please. God calls us out of our isolation to join hands with our brothers and sisters in this community of faith.
God calls us out of our confusion to speak to us from the Word and to inspire us by the Spirit.
God calls us out of our sin and save us through the Son, and to fill our lives with beauty and purpose. Together indeed. Please remain standing and join us in the first hymn, number 318, Come Thou Font of Every Blessing. Please be seated. Our scripture today starts in Exodus chapter 3, verses 1 through 15. Moses was keeping the flock of his father-in-law Jethro, the priest of Midian. He led his flock beyond the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire out of a bush, and he looked, and the bush was blazing, yet it was not consumed. Then Moses said, I must turn aside and look at this great sight and see why the bush is not burned up. When the Lord saw that he had turned aside to see, God called to him out of the bush. Moses, Moses, he said, here I am. Then he said, come no closer and remove your sandals from your feet, for the place on which you are standing is holy ground. And he said further, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look at God. Then the Lord said, I have observed the misery of my people who are in Egypt. I have heard their cry on account of their taskmasters. Indeed, I know their sufferings. And I have come down to deliver them from the Egyptians, to bring them up out of that land to a good and broad land, a land flowing with milk and honey, to the country of Canaanites, of Hittites, the Amorites, Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. The cry of the Israelites has now come to me. I have also seen how the Egyptians oppressed them. So come, I will send you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, who am I who should go to the Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? He said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign for you that it is I who sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall worship God on this mountain. But Moses said to God, if I come to the Israelites and say to them, the God of your ancestors has sent me to you, and they ask me, what's his name? What shall I say? And God said to Moses, I am who I am. He said further, thus you shall say to the Israelites, I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, thus you shall say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has sent me to you. This is my name forever, and this is my title for all generations. Psalm 105 is in the back of your bulletin, and we have our refrain. give thanks to God, call on God's name, make known God's deeds among the peoples. Sing to God, sing praises to God, tell all of God's wonderful works. Glory in God's holy name, let the hearts of those who seek God rejoice. Seek God in God's strength and seek God's presence continually. Remember the wonderful works God has done, God's miracles, and the judgments God has uttered. O offspring of God's servants, Abraham and Sarah, children of Jacob, God's chosen ones. When Israel came to Egypt and Jacob lived as an alien in the land of Ham, and God made the people very fruitful and made them stronger than their foes, whose hearts God then turned to hate God's people, to deal craftily with God's servants. God sent God's servant Moses and Aaron, whom God had chosen. That they might keep God's statutes and observe God's laws. Praise be to God. And our gospel reading is in Matthew 16, verses 21 through 28. From that time on, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and undergo great suffering at the hands of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid it, Lord, this must never happen to you. But he turned to Peter and said, Get behind me, Satan. You are a stumbling block to me, for you are setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things. Then Jesus told his disciples, If any want to become my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it, and those who want to lose their life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit them if they gain the whole world but forfeit their life? What will they give in return for their life? For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of his Father, and then he will repay everyone for what has been done. Truly I tell you, there are some standing here who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming to his kingdom. These are the words of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Thank you.
know, I love this scripture from Exodus for a multitude of different reasons. We've stolen so many quotes and phrases from this text. But it feels like we are living in the land of milk and honey. Yesterday I got to celebrate my mom's birthday, and we had a big party of lots of family, and to just see the kids running around in the backyard and playing and laughing, and to see multiple generations playing games together and laughing, and the competitive spirit that gets out, to get to break bread together. It's special. It's special. In this world that we live in, we have so many opportunities to embrace the beauty, to embrace family, to embrace friends, to embrace community. We ought to take advantage of that. We ought to soak it up. There's nothing bad in the world. We should elevate and appreciate all of those moments where we get to smile, where we get to celebrate, where we get to rejoice together. Won't you pray with me? Creator God, the sustainer of our lives, we thank you for all of the moments of joy, the moments of splendor that are scattered all around us, that we might partake, that we might celebrate and rejoice, and be reminded of your glory all around us. And in those moments where we see the pitfalls of man, where we see faults and flaws, may we be reminded of who you are, God of all creation, of heaven and earth, God that holds us, covers us, and propels us out into the world as lamp bearers of justice, hope, and peace, oh God. May it be with the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart, that we might be that peace, that we might be that love that flows out all through the land of milk and honey. The people of God proclaim together, amen. You know, Gibson got to go for his 3-year checkup this past week, and we've been to the doctor lots of times. And never before have we went to the doctor and the doctor asked Gibson questions. Normally asking me and Jamila questions, right? When does he go to sleep? When does he wake up? How does he eat? How does he play? All of those kind of things. But this time, the doctor directed a line of questioning directly at Gibson, at the 3-year-old. And he did pretty good. You know, he passed the color test, and he passed the number test. Didn't quite pass the name test, though. I mean, I know he knows his name. He introduces himself. He says, "Hi, I'm Gibby." But when she asked him the question, he did that thing that toddlers sometimes do. I don't know. I don't know. Who am I? And he looked to me and he looked to Jamila and he said, "Who am I? Who am I? What is it? Mom, Dad, tell me, what is my name?" And guess what? As God often does, presented me with another opportunity. Now we're in the park and we're walking and we encounter a dog. And the owner introduces the dog and she asks Gibson, "Who are you? What's your name?" And again, "Mom, Dad, who am I? I don't know. I don't know." And usually when something happens a second time, God's trying to tell me something there. And what do you know? We encounter scripture. Who am I? Who am I? Have you thought about that question at all? Maybe in the past week, maybe in the past month, maybe in the past year. Who am I? Well, in truth, it's one of those questions that we wrestle with every day, right? If you're honest with yourself, you do ask the question, who am I? In that moment, it seems like it's really, really clear, right? Like I know exactly who I am. But more often than not, it feels kind of foggy in our brains. Who am I? And if someone were to ask us the question, we'd probably stumble, right? We would probably hesitate to answer because sometimes our identity, well, it escapes us. We would describe what we do for a living, but that's not who we are, right? We would describe our family situation. But that's not who we are. We describe our belief system. But again, that's not who we are. We would lay everything in our lives out before us. Everything except for our spirit. Everything except for our identity. And you may be sitting there and you may be thinking, I know who I am. But do you? Do you really? Scripture today comes from Exodus, and we're familiar with it, right? From chapter 3. Moses was shepherding the flock from Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the west end of the wilderness. And he came up to the mountain of God, Horeb. And the angel of God appeared to him in flames of fire blazing out of the middle of the bush. Right? Don't forget that part. And he looked, and the bush was blazing away, but it didn't burn up. And Moses, he said, what's going on here? I can't believe this. Amazing. Why didn't the bush burn up? And God saw that he had stopped to look. And God called out to him from the bush, Moses, Moses. And he said, yes, I'm right here. And God said, don't come any closer. Remove your sandals from your feet, for you're standing on holy ground. And then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face. He hid his face, afraid to look at God. And God said, I've taken a good long look at the affliction of my people in Egypt. I've heard their cries for deliverance from their slave masters. I know all about their pain. And now I've come down to help them, to pry them loose from the grip of Egypt, to get them out of the country and bring them to a good land with wide open spaces. A land lush with milk and honey. The land of the Canaanite, the Hittite, the Amorite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. The Israelite cry for help has come to me. And I've seen for myself how cruelly they're treated by the Egyptians. It's time for you to go back. I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the people of Israel, out of Egypt. And Moses answered God, but why me? What makes you think that I could ever go to Pharaoh and lead his children of Israel out of Egypt? I'll be with you, God said. And this will be the proof that I'm the one who sent you. When you have brought my people out of Egypt, you will worship God right here at this very mountain. And then Moses, well, he said to God, suppose I go to the people of Israel and I tell them, the God of your fathers sent me to you. And they ask me, what is his name? What do I tell them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. Tell the people of Israel, I am sent you to me. And God continued with Moses. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. God, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, sent me to you. This has always been my name. And this is how I will always be known. You know, I love this story. Did anybody see The Prince of Egypt as a kid? I used to love that movie. Just watch it on repeat over and over and over again. Even before I really knew God, I love the story. And even in all of those readings, all of the times that I've combed through this text, what sticks out to me? Well, the same thing. From the very first time that I ever read it, the very first time that I ever saw it, why me? Why me? You know, Moses is no different than you or I, my friends. Because in truth, we doubt ourselves every day, in every way imaginable. Not because we can't, but because we don't know that we can. Who am I? As we wrestle with our identity, we subconsciously put ourselves in boxes that limit the scope of who we are to become. And we do it all the time. We do it all the time. You know, when I was 17, I was experimenting with songwriting. I was trying it out. And I wrote this song with these lyrics, and I said, I'm not a saint, and I'm far from a reverend. Didn't age very well, did it? If we go back and we look at all the boxes that we put ourselves in, all of those statements that we made that were declarative about who we are and who we are to become, we'd find that most of them, well, they don't age very well. And what we missed in all of these movies about Exodus, all those tales that we tell, is that Moses was completely unworthy of this call. You know, we paint Moses as this hero, right? Moses is the guy. But he really kind of wasn't. He really kind of wasn't. In his eyes, in the eyes of everyone else, he was lost. He was a completely lost soul. He had no understanding of identity. He even called himself an alien residing in a foreign land. He was a man who had never been at home anywhere. We know the story. He's born a Hebrew, adopted by Pharaoh's daughter, given an Egyptian name, raised as an Egyptian. And then in his adult life, in an attempt to stand up for his people, for the Hebrew, well, he murders an Egyptian. And that should be the end of the story right there, right? He's sent away. He finds himself among another people. And he becomes a shepherd. This lowly job, working for his father-in-law. So who is he? Who is he? Is he Hebrew? Is he Egyptian? Is he a shepherd? Is he a murderer? Well, he's probably all of those things, right? But what's special about the story is that God meets him right where he's at. Why me, God? And God responds, I will be with you. Why me? I will be with you. What if? What if? When we're confronted by the question, who am I? That your response carries the weight of God's promise. This promise, I will be with you. And suddenly that description of a job that we hold, well, it becomes meaningless. And suddenly our status in life, well, it no longer defines us. And suddenly our political party, our club membership, our social structure, well, it becomes secondary. Who am I? Well, I'm sin. Propelled out into the world by a God that walks with me. I'm covered. Blessed beyond compare by a God that would never, ever abandon me. And I'm called. Destined to be more than I ever thought I could be. To be the change that I want to see in the world. Why you? Why not you? My friends, God is meeting you right where you're at. In this very moment, right exactly where you're at, calling you to be more. And that is the great hesitation in our identity, the fact that God is calling us to be more. It's the question that we ask ourselves in our subconscious day after day. What if I'm supposed to be more? What if I haven't done enough? What if I'm supposed to be more? You are. You are supposed to be more. We're called to live in the image of God, to walk better, to serve better, to love better. So of course you're called to be more. But who's stopping you? Who's standing in your way? The distance between who you are and who you're called to be is only as far as you allow it to be. The distance between who you are and who you are called to be is only as far as you allow it to be. So what's it going to be? Who are you? Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And all of us, with unveiled faces, seeing the glory of the Lord as though reflected in a mirror, are being transformed into that same image, from one degree of glory to another. And this comes from the Lord, who is the Spirit. Thanks be to God.
Please be seated.
Friends, I need you to understand a couple things about me. Who am I? Who am I? You know, before I stepped into this pulpit, I was ready to hang my cleats up. I'd already planned on it, right? I already said I'm going to put ministry aside. It's not the call that God has for me on my life. And then I came one Sunday, and I preached, and I got to meet you lovely folk. And God put a burning bush in front of me. Now, the truth, because we're all about transparency here, I didn't want the job. Jim can speak to that. Nancy can speak to that. Lori can speak to that. There's a whole list of people that can speak to that. I didn't want the job. And repeatedly, every time someone would ask me, no, I'm happy to fill this pulpit until you find the person, right? Didn't want the job. But eventually, the burning bush got bigger and bigger, and the call of God got louder and louder, and eventually, you stop leaning on me. You start leaning on God. Each of us has a call on our lives. Each and every one of you. Called to be more than just you. Called to be more than you ever thought that you could be. Blessed, called, and sent. Can you say that with me? Blessed, called, and sent. One more time. Blessed, called, and sent. There's always the call on our lives. Called to give more than we ever receive. And trust that God is always waiting on the other side. That God will always fill your cup. So what are you willing to give? How are you willing to lean into your call? What are you willing to offer to God on this day?
Dedication is written. All things come from you, O God, and with gratitude we return to you what is yours. All that we are and all that we have is a trust from you. And so in gratitude for all your gifts, we offer you ourselves and all that we have, in union with Christ's offering for us. By the Holy Spirit, make us one with Christ, one with each other, and one in ministry to all the world, through Jesus Christ our Savior. Amen. Please be seated.
I wish everybody understood some of the modulations that Cheryl was doing there. As a musician, it really made me want to jump out of my seat there in a minute. But who are we? Who are we as a community? We're people that hold each other, that lift each other up, and that extend that shoulder of love. We're available. One of the ways that we show that is by holding each other in prayer. One of the ways that we show that is by offering up our hearts for the joys and those concerns. So what are those things that are weighing on your heart? If you have something to bring a microphone to now.
I'm Nancy Holland. I would like you to welcome my friends Sarah and Ryan here at Peace Church this morning for the first time.
Welcome.
Cindy Glasscock, I'd like to have you remember Crystal in your prayers. She went for her first treatment this week and ended up having to stay because she started running temperature. She is home now and she goes back on Wednesday for her next treatment, so hopefully it won't be quite as rough. The other thing that I have is more of a joy. This is Miss Carol Oliver was a cover girl this week in the Ashland paper. Actually, it was for her husband Mike, who was given the Quilt of Valor Award this week by the, I guess, Mid-Missouri group. Mike started his service in the Marines in 1968 and served there and then went on to be a Marine recruiter. He's heavy into that. So anyway, just wanted you to know that she made the paper.
Kathy Sheridan. My niece Ann made it through surgery fine, and she's home recovering. And once healed, she'll have to see an oncologist. My cousin Colleen passed away last night. She just took a turn for the worse this week. And then I have a great niece who tried to, well, she shot herself. And so I would like prayers for her to realize she needs help. Thank you.
Janine Lacey. We had a great joy this week welcoming our 11th great-grandchild. William Noah Helms was born to Julia and Tanner. Great looking little guy.
Dale Wilson. Today is Nalkada's 57th and wedding anniversary.
I'm Alan O'Cart, and I'm missing 2 girls today, but I am sitting between a row full of girls. But my joy is Ava will be celebrating her 11th birthday the 10th, so if she would have been here, she would say, Grandpa, raise your hand.
Lori Klippel, I just would ask for prayers during my niece Kara. She's back to her, Kara Morris, she's back to her first love, which is missionary work. She is somewhere in Asia right now, and I think she returns back in mid-September for her birthday. And then, not so great for me, but great for Fred. He officially retired Thursday.
Hi, I'm Tom. I would just like to ask for prayers for Siska and her family. Godfrey, her brother, that we all prayed for some time, passed away this week. And so if you could be with the Garcia family, his wife Irene, his sons Danny and Ricky, and the rest of the Garcia family, please, and thank you.
One thing I forgot earlier, when I was talking about apple butter. I would encourage anybody, if they'd like apple butter this year, please contact me. I still have quite a few openings for those who might want apple butter.
Marvin Hilgedick, and I would like to thank those of you in this church that allowed me laying on of hands week before last. I really appreciate it.
This is Carolyn Selby, and I'm glad to be back after about 7 or 8 weeks. And I want to thank everyone that sent Blaine a card, and visitors too. He didn't know who you were, but he was glad to get a visitor. But I just want to thank everybody for your prayers and cards. And then I still have a granddaughter-in-law and a grandson that's going through cancer right now. And prayers for them. So thanks everybody.
I just have to share this. Gibson was at my house last week. We were eating lunch and he reached for a piece of fish and dumped his tall glass of water over. He wasn't upset with it. He just sat there while we cleaned it all up, and I heard him say, "Guess I won't do that again."
Robert Gurney, one thing Dale forgot to mention is he had a birthday on Thursday, so happy birthday.
Well, might as well go to 100% and everybody get their chance. My name's Timothy Bullard. A lot of joys today in addition to concerns, and that's wonderful to see. Over the week, one of my firemen and one of our children, Caleb McCullum, was in a minor vehicle collision with another one of his boys coming back from school. The car is totaled. Caleb has a broken rib, but other than that, they are sore but well. So for that, it is truly joyful, because car accidents we can or cannot control, and no matter, we take joy in what can be salvaged. And the lives of 2 children who wore their seatbelts were salvaged. So for that, I am truly joyful. And I have coworkers who are going through their own challenges, and so as we generally pray for the solace of the Lord on all people, I'll have them as well. Thank you. Somebody's got to be last. There we go.
One more thing, Nancy Holland had to announce that we were married 64 years. Wayne and I were last week. I think she announced that last year. I'd forgotten to announce it, but anyway, that's 64 years.
Congratulations. My mom had a birthday yesterday, so we got to celebrate her, so happy birthday. And thank God for brisket, I'll just say that. All right, let's send ourselves with a song here. Giving and gracious God, we thank you for the moments that give us pause. Those moments where we lean on our faith and our understanding of who you are. For you are the God of the mountain and the God of the valley. the God that shepherds us through all of those moments in life where we don't have the strength to carry ourselves, where we don't have the fortitude to lean on our own understanding, on our own faith. And in those moments when we doubt, when we're tied up by fear, you cover us. You cover us with compassion and mercy. Most of all, God, you cover us with grace, that we might reach the other side of the valley and begin that climb up the mountain, that we might celebrate each of the moments along the way, those moments where we found peace, those moments where we found rest, those moments where we found you. God, along that journey, we do make our way to the mountaintop, where we get to celebrate and see the splendor of your creation all around us, where we get to be reminded of your might and your glory, where we get to be reminded of all that is good in the world. And God, there is so much good. God, thank you for the way that you move in and around us, for the way that your Spirit calls us out, draws us further, that we might be more, that we might be all that we are destined to be, all that we are ordained to be, that we might be love in a world in such desperate need. And God, as we go forth from this place, may we be reminded that you are with us, that we are blessed and called and sent by the Creator of all. Now we join together in the prayer that was taught to us by your Son Jesus, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. And, Cheryl and I spent all week planning this exact moment that prayer would lead us into this next song. I want you to stand with us as we sing number 677, They'll Know We're Christians by Our Love.
We are
Next Sunday, Rally Day. What are we doing? Outside, you're bringing what with you? Food and lawn chair. Yes, you remember? Tell all your friends. Yes? Okay. It's very simple, friends. First we're blessed, then we're called, and then we're sent. Each and every day, each and every way, by the Creator of all. It's all that easy, it's all that hard. Thanks be to God.